Hey everyone, we are here today with Natasha from Muuse. I'm super excited to hear all about this fantastic reuse system, and actually I'll get Natasha to tell us more about the details. But yeah, Natasha, just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Muuse, and maybe just a little bit about what is Muuse and why is it one of the best things around in terms of sustainability for food service right now?
Yeah, certainly. Thank you for having me, Heidi. It's great to be here and great to be with Future Greens as well. So, why Muse? For me, I have been a self-proclaimed environment warrior for many, many years. I've been working in large corporates for almost 20 years before joining Muse last August. Um, while I was doing whatever I was doing for last 2 decades, I was always involved in sustainability initiatives, programs, leading them, driving them, supporting them with KPMG. And I was also chairing JLL Eco Club, which was more of an internal initiative. That's when I came across Muse. So back in
Right.
2023, we got it introduced as part of Eco Club. We got this initiative introduced in the office for the office staff. So it was just made available. So that's how I was working with Muse already for almost a year and a half. And I think when the opportunity came, I just had to go to Muse and very excited to be doing something that I've been very passionate about, just changing behaviors towards more sustainable ones, just getting rid of disposables because it's so unnecessary. It is so easy to switch. And I think Muse makes it much easier and convenient for people. More maybe I'll share shortly.
And that's really interesting because you said you heard about it through your corporate role, and I had assumed that it was really in the food service space. So how did it change the culture in your office, having this reuse system available?
Yeah, sure. See, in every office like I said, that for at least definitely for last 12 years, I've been actively involved in CSR/sustainability because sustainability sat underneath that for the longest time. I think more for last 5, 7 years, it's coming out as an individual function on its own, even for internal sustainability initiatives. So how did it change? I mean, we were Eco Club, and we were doing a lot of things like beach cleanups, trail cleanups, visiting the landfills. And this was just one of the things we introduced, which was more physical, which was more interacting with 100% of staff. I think that was really nice. But again, like I said, that every office has a set of eco-conscious people. Those were the ones who were early adopters, and they continue to be. Like, I still have friends there, and I even get get WhatsApp messages that this return bin tab is not working. Salad stop doesn't have. I hope your people are doing what they're supposed to and stuff. So those eco-conscious people continue to use it. It was much harder for some of more local cuisine consumers to kind of adopt it, because if you see, a local cuisine will have multiple requirement of multiple utensils, right? There'll be a soup bowl, there'll be this one, but while this was just one bowl and one cup, so it
Yeah.
was much harder for that. But otherwise, I think it's still doing well. They still have the program running. I'm still working with JLL, so I
Great.
think it's a good program.
So when
And
you
why?
say local cuisine, you're in Hong Kong right now, just for listeners that are not aware. So local cuisine meaning sort of more Chinese cuisine, which can be a little bit more complicated
Soupy,
compared to
yeah,
Western
yes,
cuisine. Okay.
yeah, yeah. I'd say, I mean, local cuisine would mean that rice separately,
Yes.
curry
Yeah.
separately,
Yeah.
and
A lot
another
of
bowl with.
sauce. Yeah.
Yeah, so multiple bowls. But if you see where we established, that was the first program for Muse back in 2021 in Taiko Place. If you see, all the restaurants in Taiko Place are quite one box friendly food. So it works well for most of the restaurants. But if you step outside of Taiko Place, there are lots of local, smaller restaurants where it's harder to drive reusables or bring your own, and B, the cuisine is such that it's hard to just go with one bowl. So we probably will have to introduce something which is more friendly. Although, in JLL office, there is a soup bowl. But again, that's one box, which is very, soup noodle friendly, but you need multiple. So that's doing well as well.
So in that case, your ideal Muuse customer is who in terms of, obviously that's a corporate setting. Are the sort of landlords and the facilities managers, are these your ideal customers in terms of the B2B side? And tell me a bit about how you design that experience for them.
Yeah, so I would say that we're a provider of B2B clients across three main slivers, I'd say: events, which would include stadium, event agencies, etc. Contained ecosystem, which is food courts, offices, schools, tourist attractions, and then cities, which are cafes and municipalities. And we've been working in all these spaces, more in one country than the other, and so on. So for example, in Hong Kong, Swire network, which is more contained ecosystem, and Starbucks, which is more citywide. So these are the places, these are our main target clients who we work with. And how we choose it is, our mission is to have maximum impact. Wherever there's a higher use of disposables, that's where we want to kind of be working and partner with such locations, basically.
So I imagine the office workers are a really good target audience because they're coming to the same place every day.
Yes.
It's very convenient. They know what to expect, and they just get into a habit of going to their favorite, let's say, salad stop, cafe, and bring or request a Muuse reuse container. Is that how it works, or would they bring their own one? How does that work if I'm an office worker and I can see that Muuse is available?
There are two ways it's working. And you're right, a business district is an ideal location because it's got returning people. They will definitely be there in the same location 2-3 times in a week, if not all 5. So, making it convenient for them is very easy. Like there are, for example, Taikoo Place. Let's talk about that because we have it established there. So there are about 20 restaurants, like 70% of restaurants in Taikoo Place use Muuse. We stock reusables, cups, as well as food boxes in all these 70% of the locations, which is about 22 restaurants at the moment. And then there are 10 return bins across Taikoo Place, pretty much outside all the buildings, and a couple more, which are more closer to the Tong Chong Kitchen, which is their food court, etc. So we just make sure, the whole agenda is, when we are designing processes, when we're designing a program for a location, you keep customer, end user at the center of all your decision making. How is it a seamless decision for them? So it works much better in a returning people location versus a mall. And we have a clear difference between how City Plaza, where again we've got, I think, 6-7 cafes that stock Muuse and people can borrow, return, but it's much harder to drive it there because I go to a mall not every day, right? I would go today, maybe next day, after a couple of months, and the borrow period for Muuse container is 30 days. So it's much harder to drive it in a location where people don't return. Maybe a different system needs to be established. In event locations, again, that's a once in a lifetime kind of experience. Also in tourist attractions such as Disneyland. Maybe I, as a tourist from another country, have visited Hong Kong and I go to Disneyland. It's much easier to drive in a tourist attraction versus a mall, because we've created systems which are suitable for that place because it's contained environment. It's much easier to control losses versus in a mall.
Interesting. That's so interesting that you have to understand exactly you've divided up into those three different types of clients. So, and how does that partnership with the cafes and restaurants support your mission? Because obviously this is a circular sustainability program. Are they willing to act as ambassadors? Because obviously the more people that are aware, the better. And I presume that you have very passionate champions in each of these restaurants. Do you work with them on some kind of program, maybe an incentive program to spread the word? Does that help? How do partnerships work?
Interesting question, Heidi, because just on 30th June, we concluded a program in Taiko Place where we invited all restaurant partners to join us in a kind of a promotion program, which was to motivate them to drive reusables in their respective restaurants, which was basically, whoever gets the highest number of reusables from 1 June to 30th June will be the winner. And, we've got a few partners which are clear, like they're on the top 5 on the leaderboard nonstop. And Quarter, I'm going to shout out to Quarter. They've been on the top of the charts for long, and Quarter won again for this particular campaign by almost the second, or the runner-up was almost 1/3 of Quarter's borrows for that month. So yeah, we do a lot of campaigns. In fact, Swire is very supportive in the whole process. I think they are precious partners. They really care for the environment. I think that's such an important thing. So with them, we also drive reward campaigns or discount promotions. Very recently at Pacific Place, we drove, like Pacific Place, we've got about nine restaurant partners. In the second week of June, we had a campaign running where anyone who's working in Pacific Place could actually go and get a free drink from any of these 9 partners, either bring your own or using Muse. So that really, really increases the uptake. So we have to keep driving and pushing with these promotions. And besides, another thing is that for all the partners we're working with, there's a $1 discount on every time you would borrow a reusable or Muse container at the partner locations. Some of them would be as high as $10, and some would be just $1 as well. So it really depends on the partners. Whatever they have on Bring Your Own, they would put the same on Muse borrows as well.
I really love that you touched on nudging, behavior change, incentives, because it's so important, isn't it? It's such a big part of changing habits.
Yes.
That you've got all of these ways to motivate not just your partners, but also ultimately their customers.
The end users, yes.
The end users. Yeah, it's so important. And it's interesting that you talk about it in this way, because it's not just the habits around reuse, it's habits around sustainability in general, like recycling or like managing your waste better. So I really love that you really push hard on these kind of rewards, like how do we reward people for doing the right thing? Because really we do need to do that if we're going to change behavior at scale. So maybe you could walk us through a little bit of what the life cycle of a Muse cup is, because I'm sure people ask you, how many times can you keep reusing this container? Do you have any stories around the life cycle of the cup or even a container for food?
Yes, definitely. A very important question. And a circular system is successful if it is truly circular, with the biggest identifier of that is the return rate. And I think we are very proud of having a 99% return rate across the 4 countries we work in.
What are the 4 countries? Sorry.
Yes, so we are in Singapore at the moment. We're fully operational in Canada, US, and in Asia, Hong Kong and Singapore. So everywhere that we work, where people borrow using our Muse app, we have a 99% return rate, which is only possible when you make the end users responsible for that container. And so how we work, like most of the reuse companies globally, use a deposit model. Like when you borrow, you're in the West at the moment, you will see if you go and try it any of the places, like there are a few companies that are doing it currently, more prevalent in the West. Muse has the privilege of being the only one in the in the Asian side at the moment. But you would see all of them rely on a deposit-based system, but ours is quite different. So for the end user, it's a free service. You don't need to pay any upfront deposit to borrow Muse container. And all you need to do is just attach your wallet or credit card details when you're signing up, and you will only be ever charged if you do not return within 30 days. And be this
That's
30 days.
great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great that it's a free service.
It's a free service. I mean, again, our commercial relationship is with our business partners, or where we with Swire, Starbucks, for example, in Hong Kong. So it's very important to keep that in mind, that for end user, it's got to be a seamless journey. They don't have to pay. They don't have to feel that they are being, but it's still not that simple, despite it being so convenient. I'll probably talk about challenges when we get to that. But yeah, going back to your original question, life cycle. So return rate is one. Our stainless steel double-walled cups that you would have seen in Taikoo Place, those can go on forever. Actually, there is no end date on that unless they get dented, etc. And they're sturdy. If you see, the bins are fairly deep, and you can actually drop them from
like a meter and a half.
More, a meter and a half more probably, and they are just fine. And they've been getting used for 5 years already. We haven't restocked after the first time. So it's quite good. I mean, we claim that they will be used for more than 1,000 times, but it actually will get used more than 1,000 times. But for the PP ones, the PP plastic ones will be used for, depending on which brand we're using, they're designed for reuse. So most of them will be 300, 500, 1,000 uses, depending on the quality we're looking at. Because again, we have to, we decide based on the budgets as well, right? How much the client is ready to put on sourcing.
So you have plastic reusables as well as the metal reusables. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. Okay. And then just talking about that, I imagine your clients want data as well. That's one way they can sort of justify using a service like this, because they do reporting, and especially for their ESG. So what kind of metrics do you provide to the B2B clients? How can you share your impact through that, or help them share their impact?
I think so. It's very important. Yeah, we've got two ways of using our tracking system. One is for internal inventory management, which is very important, like knowing how many cups are out in circulation with end users, how many are with the washer, how many are in our stock, how many are with the vendors, etc. So that makes the whole system very easy for us to manage. We know if there's an event coming, what's the status of our inventory, etc. So that's very helpful. But for the end user, for our commercial clients, for them, obviously knowing how the whole program, the impact of the program, there are 3 key metrics that our dashboard will. All of them have access to a live dashboard that would give them weight of the waste diverted, number of borrows, carbon emissions saved, and the number of times each container is used. So these are the things that they would have at any given point. Like even if I'm looking at especially the Starbucks, because that is fast moving, gets used literally all day. If I'm looking at Starbucks live data, I literally see like 2 more cups, 3 more cups. So it's
how exciting.
Yes.
That must be a fun dashboard for those that like numbers. So that's fantastic. So they can literally say on their ESG reporting through our, so if you're a landlord, through our F&B tenants, we've helped the tenant save X on carbon emissions, which in turn helps the the landlord with their scope 3 reporting, which is just fantastic, because they'll have to report anyway, and you're just making it easier for them with
Yeah.
this wonderful dashboard. Yeah, it seems like
Yeah.
a no-brainer for business. So on that point, why would all businesses not use this wonderful service? I mean, what's holding them back in terms of challenges?
It's a chicken and egg situation, right? Unless this program scales, it will stay expensive. It is an expensive, like, a disposable is like if you need to think of the break-even point, which is very hard for businesses to imagine, right? That it will break even in a year or a year and a half or 2 years max, depending on the location. For example, if it's an event location, the break even is quite quick. Like the initial inventory, for example, is $100,000. And when you compare it, like the same cups getting used again and again, again and again. So within 5 events, for example, you can recover the cost and start making money on that, because now you don't have to buy disposables, stock disposable, and do the whole, manage the whole supply chain, which is also quite volatile in current political
Yeah,
and economic environment, right? So there are long term, there are benefits, but it's very hard for businesses to understand that, because it is all about P&L for this year.
the quarter. Oh, the
Yeah,
year. Yeah.
yeah, or the quarter, or whatever. I mean, it's mostly the year actually. Even for some of the corporate clients, which is much smaller budget, because we literally charge them for the dashboard, like, how much are you saving from your office month on month, week on week, and so on. I think if there were regulations like in the West, our partners are so happy using it because this is saving them on waste management cost. But
Yes.
unfortunately, in Hong Kong, the waste charging scheme unfortunately was at least scrapped, put on hold. We don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if that was the case, then it would make so much sense for businesses to adopt reusables.
Yeah. So you're saying the break-even charge is mainly on the cost they would have had on the single-use cups, the paper
Yeah, so I would
cups.
say, there is CapEx involved in running the program. That is initial inventory, um, getting them branded. If you've seen Swire ones, those are branded
Yeah.
cups and boxes. They've got Tycho Place branding. Starbucks has its own cups, for example, but that's also branded. So every company wants their own branded cups, obviously. So all of that costs money. So that's CapEx. And then there is operational cost, like how much does per cup, that's more important for events, that how
Yeah.
much does each cup cost? And we've done all the math. It could really be less than $1, which is better than the cost of a good disposable cup.
Yeah.
So
Especially in the markets
yeah,
where they have to pay, as you
yeah,
say, for their waste.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, then obviously they will start benefiting more. So yeah, OpEx, which would include us stocking, our project management, people on the ground. Imagine a Kaitak, for example.
Yeah.
They've got 50,000, 20,000 people events. They will break even in 5 events, and they will start making money on it after 5 events.
Yeah. I mean, it just seems like a no-brainer. However, I believe from my own experience working with corporates and with business, you also need to ensure that the staff who will be interfacing with you, for example, that they're aware of such a program. They might need a little bit of upskilling, how to use the dashboard, and to be sort of long-term thinkers as well, to think about how the benefits will be reaped, depending on the business type. So I guess there's a lot of moving parts, but for me it
Yeah,
seems like a no-brainer, particularly with big sports events, and Hong Kong
yeah.
has a lot of them, and now we're coming into summer. There are so many happening
Yeah,
globally
yeah,
as well.
absolutely. There is. I mean, it's become so. I mean, when I moved to Hong Kong, late 2019, it was things just stopped. Like there was COVID that happened quite quickly, and I'm quite pleased to see all the events that are happening. So, and with that, obviously, the scope is high. I'd agree that all these events must go to reusables, and the part of the problem is that we don't have any regulation around that. And also,
Yeah.
going back to your point on, people need to be upskilled. So when we do a service for events, it's a full scale service, sourcing the reusables, branding them, getting the return bins, branding them as well, training the F&B partners, and then clearing it at the end of the event, taking them to the washer, bringing them back and stocking them with the F&B partners / warehouse, wherever, depending on the situation. So we do the whole thing, and we are
Yeah.
in there during the event as well for troubleshooting. So
Yeah.
it is like, being in the events industry, really, which is quite demanding, but we
Yeah.
do the full scale service.
But you really, it remind us of the fact that it has to be focused on the user. And that's what it sounds like you're doing. You're making it easy, not just for the user, actually also for your client, so
Yes.
that you've really thought through every step. And that's so important, isn't it?
Yeah.
We were working with a sports events organizer back a couple of months ago. I think it was golf, and there were thousands of people coming to that event, I think over a 3-day period. I can imagine the benefits of using a system like yours, because they also start to move around the world as well with their event. So I think there's plenty of opportunity. It's just getting the mindset changed and getting people to really believe
Yeah.
that it can be a win-win, not just for the environment, but also on the pocket as well.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, it's
And
really
to
important to
businesses,
get that
Heidi, we need to
across.
show them the cost benefit. We don't, I mean, we are an environment company. We are a set of passionate beings, really. That's what keeps the company going, honestly. Otherwise, it's a very hard business to be in. We are shaping an industry. But to our partners, we just show what's in it for you cost-wise.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's not immediate, but it's going to happen, and you've got to see it to make it happen.
Like many sustainability initiatives, they just take time,
Yeah,
but they do work. And I think
yeah,
it's important to emphasize that.
yeah.
So talking of things working, how have you, I know tech is an important part of, your system and being able to track how the cups travel through the flow. Are you using AI at the moment? Are you thinking about leveraging AI? Is it something you're considering? This was not in your question list, by the way, but I thought I'd just throw it out there because it's
No,
such
we
a big
are
topic.
definitely we are looking at it. I mean, some of our dashboard work is already like when we're doing the summaries, etc. That is done by AI. The management information summaries. But we want to obviously leverage it at a much different level. For example, the app interacting with our end users, sending them prompts, tracking their usage behavior, and then treating it accordingly. Like the notifications should be suited to individual customers. So that's all work in progress. Think of a Duolingo experience.
Yeah,
That's what we're aiming at.
yeah. Personalization, gamification.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And that
Yeah,
is just, and that's how machine learning works, right? That they will it just sees certain behaviors and it just follows that. But it's got its own disadvantages as well, because sometimes it just keeps prompting on that. So we're just finding what's the right middle ground to play with,
yeah.
etc. So we've got a tech team that helps us through that. I think one big um, change that we've recently introduced in our system. So you've seen how the app borrowing works. It works perfectly well in systems like in coffee shops, in restaurants, etc. But when it comes to events, it is impossible to do that. So we do RFID tracking for events. So all the cups for events are RFID enabled. And that just makes our back-end inventory management so much easier. So we've done that in terms of tech enhancement recently. And by the way, tonight we have Coldplay. We are servicing Coldplay concert in
That's
Toronto.
fantastic. Oh,
Yes.
that's fantastic. Yeah, because I was at a Coldplay concert in Hong Kong and I remember the opening. It was all about sustainability and I just thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So they really are carrying the message. And to find
Yes.
partners like that, wow.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can also help to push the agenda around Muse's
Yeah.
mission and
Yeah.
vision. So are you in Toronto at the moment, or your
Yeah.
team are handling it?
No, I'm
Oh,
not in Toronto. It's a team that's handling it. I lead Hong Kong, and then there are leads for each geography, and then there is a smaller, sometimes part-time teams, a couple of full-time people.
yeah.
So just like any other startup, like we are juggling many balls in the air.
Yeah, I
Same
know the
time. So
feeling. But
yeah,
that's very exciting to be
yeah.
supporting the Coldplay concerts.
Yes.
That is
Yeah, we're
amazing.
all very excited. I mean, this is and just yesterday night we concluded another big festival. It was a 3-day festival in Singapore. No, today is the last day. Sorry, it was week Saturday, Sunday, Monday. The Sundown Festival in Singapore, which is about 50,000 people. Event.
Wow,
Yes.
amazing. So you do festivals, sports events,
Yeah.
work with landlords, F&Bs,
Yes.
and what was there's a fourth one as well.
Yeah, we've got, these, so very important, and that's what I really want to start doing in Hong Kong as well. Sentosa in Singapore, we've got a very well-established system there. Just in last year, we've managed to divert almost 8,000 kilos of waste. Those are really high potential locations for us. I mean, I really want Disneyland to happen in Hong Kong, Ocean Park, Kai Tak Stadium. So all of these locations are important because that's where waste gets generated, and it's much easier for us to establish a system. So in Sentosa, for example, we've got a smart bin,
Yeah.
which is solar powered.
Sentosa is a resort.
Sentosa is in Singapore. It's a tourist resort, and they've got lots of just the way you'd imagine, like the Disneyland has food trucks all
Yes.
all over the place. So it's the
Yeah.
same there. So the people get food served by default in Muse trays,
Right.
and they would take the food, and then there are bins in there which are solar powered, really cool looking bins. They show the QR code on the container on that bin, and that opens, and then you can
Yeah.
drop your so yeah, I mean, for every location the systems are quite different that have been
Yeah.
well thought through and established.
Yeah. I love
And
that you're
BAMF.
leveraging the tech. Sorry?
And BAMF, for example, you remember you showed it.
Yes, the video.
We've got BAMF as well. Yes.
Yeah. No, it feels like you're really gaining momentum. So just talking of the future, where do you think Muse is going in the next few years? Is it about more locations geographically, or is it really getting deeper into the locations that you're in now? Where do you see the future of Muse?
It's both. More of the latter, like we would do more of broadening our services and the types of locations we are servicing currently. Like in Hong Kong, it's a clear strategy that we are looking at events and tourist locations. And obviously the current system, which is more with landlords, it's important and easy because these are the places which are high impact locations, easy to implement, etc. But we're also looking to grow in other geographies such as Australia, Korea, Taiwan, in not as much in the West, but here in Asia, because there are no other reusable.
Yeah, what a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And so would you have any advice, just to wrap up, for other startups trying to work in this kind of circular economy space? Yeah.
I'm going to repeat myself for that one, Heidi. Just keeping the end user at the center of every decision, making of product, which product to choose, creating processes, anything in between. It's got to be focused on the end user. What is their user experience looking like? If it's something that you will do yourself, not thinking with the passion at the center of that, but thinking as someone who doesn't care, especially people who are in, founders in sustainability space, they need to think of an ordinary someone who doesn't care about the environment, and then create processes. I think that would be my advice.
I love that approach. I mean, it's the design thinking approach, isn't it? We also use that, where you really think about who's using this and what are they experiencing. And you'd be surprised that so many companies do not think this way. They just design a product and then they put it out there and hope somebody will use it. So I really love the way you do that, and what a great tool, you know, through the lens of sustainability, because in this space we need to use whatever tool we can get, whatever approach we can get, because goodness knows we have to spread the story on sustainability as easy as possible. This was really lovely, Natasha. Thank you so much for speaking with me. I really learned a lot more. I thought I knew what was happening behind the scenes, but really it was really interesting to hear, to go and take the time to go into a bit more depth. Always rushing when we meet. So yeah, what a fantastic story, and we'll keep you posted on the output that we do probably in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, is there anything else that you would like to add that I have missed?
No, I think that's. I mean, there is just so much. Honestly, I can go on for hours. I think we'd leave it at that. But thank you for having me and sharing our story with everyone out there. I'm looking forward to having more conversations based on this.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the outputs that we make.